Hey guys, how's it going today? I want to make a quick video on, and this might sound a little bit depressing, but learning to be at peace being alone. Now, there is some, there's some gold in here, so just keep watching. And it's not about just being like a loner or anything like that, right? There's some strategy to this. There's some great things here. So, yeah, don't be afraid at the whole, being alone for everything. That's not what this is about. It's about how to utilize, taking some time away from people, and just being okay being alone if you're someone who really struggles with that. So, yeah, let's get into the video. Now, the first question I'll ask here is: are you lonely or are you alone? Right? There's a very, they're two very different things, but people get them confused quite a bit, right? So, lonely is feeling disconnected, that something is missing, whereas being alone is being away from other people, right? Now, you can be in a massive crowd of people and you can feel lonely, right? You're not alone. There's lots of people around you, but you could feel lonely. You could feel like there's something missing inside. No one notices you. You feel like you have nothing to connect about. These are all things around, being lonely and feeling disconnected, right? Whereas being alone is, you know, it's more physical, right? So if you're alone, you're just, you might be in your bed. You might be, I don't know, you might be going out for a walk by yourself, right? So one's not that great. The other is totally fine. Okay. Now, if you're someone who feels lonely, what's the reason for that, right? Are you maybe seeking deep relationships? Are you maybe lacking some purpose or meaning in your life? You could also feel like you don't have any friends. You could feel like you're maybe marginalized from those around you. Maybe you're a little bit different. Maybe you're a little bit controversial. Maybe you're just a unique individual, right? And I mean, it's kind of really important to not feel lonely. So, and we'll get into that in a second, but definitely investigate that if you are lonely, right? Now, on the other hand, being alone can be great to help reset and reflect. I've personally learned a lot about myself being alone. So this is, when I go for walks alone, when I'm, late night, I might just do a little bit of reflecting. I might sometimes go on a solo trip somewhere. I might go out to the pub alone sometimes. And you might think that's really weird, but I quite enjoy it. And it's almost a little bit scary, which gets me out of my comfort zone. I quite enjoy that. Um, so it can be, in my opinion, a great way to just kind of reset for a little bit, especially if you're someone who is regularly around people. Maybe your job involves a lot, people. So these things are can be great to kind of just reset for a little bit and learn more about yourself. You can. I mean, a lot of like life moves so quick that you end up not taking a second for a lot of it and just reflecting on how things are going. But when you're alone, it almost forces you to start reflecting, because I mean it's just inevitable, right? Your brain races when you're alone and you start questioning things and considering things, and a lot of things that might be worrying you or giving you anxiety, they kind of come to the forefront, and then you can kind of address them as they come because they're right there in front of you and you don't really have a choice. You're alone. You've got nothing else to think about but that. Okay. So it can be great for progressing things that are stuck, where you feel stuck, or just learning about yourself. Now, look, both can happen at multiple life stages. Obviously, being alone happens pretty much every day, right? But you can be lonely at different stages of your life, right? So, um, utilize that when they come about. If you're feeling lonely, investigate things, what's missing in your life. It's almost like a gut signal for to change something. Then obviously being alone can be great. If you're always alone, that might signal a problem, but in moderation, I think can be a really great thing and almost needed. Okay, so the next point here is to optimize for personal growth and self-understanding. So, as people, we do thrive off human connection. I know I previously, back in the day, was more, I guess, solo in a way where I believe I'd be able to just get things done by myself. But, I've slowly realized that a lot of things do come at a team effort, and arguably you can get a better result, an easier result, a cheaper result as a team, right? But I do love having my alone time and having that balance. I think a lot of other people do. Some people are very reliant on other people. I don't think that's a great thing. I think definitely having that balance is key, because obviously we're not always going to be around people, and we need to be okay with ourselves, right? Okay. Being alone can force you to create spaces to pause, reflect, and reset goals in your life, right? So again, like I said, life moves so quick sometimes that you don't get a chance to reflect or pause for days, weeks, months on end. Sometimes I'll look back and I'll be like, wow, it's been a crazy month, but I haven't actually taken a second to actually reflect on things. So I wouldn't have, I would have missed a lot of things actually, and lots of opportunities lost there. So I think sometimes intentionally being alone can be fantastic, right? For me, I have quarterly goals, and these are the kind of times that I'll pause and I'll start reflecting right on those quarterly goals regularly while being alone. It's a little bit harder to do when you have other people around you, unless you're speaking to a coach or something like that. Without outside pressure, you can make choices based on your own beliefs and priorities. So, again, being alone, it's only you. There's not really any external, things pushing you in one direction or another. You might personally feel, you might be inclined or very easily maneuvered, but where you're alone, those external influences aren't there. So it's really just you, and what's best for you or what you feel is best for you. That will kind of come to the forefront, because that's, I mean, you don't really have any other choice. There's no one else around you. Um, Obviously, what you have in your mind from what other people are saying, maybe, but no one's directly telling you to think their way. This is all you doing that. Okay. Plus, I think we should all learn to be more comfortable and less dependent on people around us. I've personally grown up with lots of people who they need to have other people in their life, whereas I've been a little bit more of a solo person. And my suggestion to them would be to kind of move towards that, solo field more, and for me to be a little bit more, working with other people, which I've been able to do recently, and that's been really good. But I think one extreme, either on either end, isn't a great thing. I think having a mix of both could be is ideal. Can be really beneficial. Now, last point here is how to optimize being alone, right? So some points here that I think personally could work really well is start integrating small activities like walks, solo walks. It started off like that. It started off going out for solo trips for the day, going to cafes, going to a movie if I were to watch a movie. To now, I can quite regularly travel overseas and enjoy being alone for the most part. Now, am I always alone? No. I'm going to find people there, meet people, maybe join them on their adventures for a little bit, and then maybe maneuver somewhere else and find another group or another bunch of people, right? I'm not talking about being alone all the time. It's just being alone, to make decisions, to progress things in life. For me, it all started because, I didn't want to wait for other people to make a choice to travel overseas. I just wanted to do it. And hence why I started traveling overseas alone. You'll want to start trying out new habits like journaling, reading, routines, and other practices as well. I mean, naturally, when you're alone, you kind of there's so much room for reflection, and you're testing things in your head, and you're kind of, you're brainstorming different things, and inevitably, you're going to be curious and try things, right? So, try things obviously will help you, like journaling, reading, maybe get into a nice healthy breakfast routine. Maybe it's something to do with exercising in the morning, whatever it is. If it's something around praying, sure. Okay. Another point here is that being alone gives you a great opportunity to work on yourself and become your best self at your own pace. So I say at your own pace because the reality is we all have, very busy lives. We're all doing different things, and we're all at different stages in our life. So being able to, do something that we all have the ability to do, which is just take a pause from everyone and move away, and just work at your own pace with no external influences, and do what you feel is comfortable, right? If you don't want to start a business like everyone else is saying, then don't. If you want to work at a cafe forever as a barista, do that, right? If you want to start your own business, do that. It's all at your own pace without external influences, which in my opinion I feel a lot better doing it that way without so much pressure around me. remember to make the effort to connect with people. Humans need to socialize with each other as well. Obviously, again, we are social creatures. You don't want to be alone forever. That's probably the worst thing ever. You want to socialize with other people and connect with the world. There's so much out there, so much to do, so much to learn, so much to see. So definitely get out there. Use being alone as an opportunity to reflect and to adjust things, try other things. Don't keep it as something that should be all the time like that. It's a mix. That's how you're going to get the best results. So yeah, that's how to learn. That's my approach on learning to be at peace, being alone, right, and also address being lonely, right. You, if you do feel lonely or you feel like something's missing, that's a gut feeling telling you that something is missing. That's to look into it, right? The two very different things. Don't get the confused, and both can be very beneficial in their own ways, right? One's telling you something that you need to hear, and the other's kind of letting you reflect and address things that need that. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy. If you have any questions, let me know down below. But otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.